Hi there, this is One Man in Texas checking in again. I'm looking at the isms again and how they are defined and would they be able to be applied to our current society. Now, if you remember, I'm working with 4 different editions of the dictionary by date. We have the 1895 edition, a Concise Webster's Dictionary, 1927, the New Dictionary of the English Language, 1984 Office Edition of the Webster's No. 2 New Riverside Dictionary, and 2004 Collegiate Edition of the Merriam Webster Dictionary. Okay, let's see what's next. Today's definition is anarchism. It's listed as a noun. Now, the 1895 edition is not listed. Only anarchy. Without rule or a ruler, want of a government or order. 1927 is listed. Lawlessness, confusion, anarchy, the doctrines of the anarchist. 1984 edition is listed 2 definitions. One is the doctrine of the abolishment of all forms of government because they are oppressive and undesirable. Number 2 is lawlessness. 2004 edition is listed the theory that all government is undesirable. If you think about it, in 1895, anarchism was not even listed. That is, without rule or ruler, it's a want of a government or order. And of course, the 2004 edition is a theory that all government is undesirable. It has really evolved in the last, 120 years? Interesting how a word does that. Now, we looked at Wikipedia, a political philosophy and movement that is skeptical of all justifications for authority and seeks to abolish the institutions it claims maintain unnecessary coercion and hierarchy, typically including nation-states and capitalism. Anarchism advocates for the replacement of the state with stateless societies and voluntary free associations. Now, looking at Merriam Webster Online Dictionary, it's a political theory holding all forms of governmental authority to be unnecessary and undesirable, and advocating a society based on voluntary cooperation and free association of individuals and groups. They also list synonyms for anarchism. You have anarchy, you have commotion, you have chaos, you have lawlessness, you have misrule, you have disorder, you have disorganization, you have tumult. And now we checked with our friendly AI. It had this to say about anarchism. Anarchism is a political and social philosophy that advocates for a society without government or other hierarchical structures. Anarchists believe in a stateless and classless society where individuals have maximum freedom and autonomy. While there are various forms of anarchism, they all share a common rejection of centralized authority and advocate for decentralized decision-making and voluntary cooperation. According to the AI, there are 6 key principles and ideas associated with anarchism, and they include anti-authoritarianism. Anarchists are fundamentally opposed to any form of hierarchy, whether it's in the form of government, capitalism, or other systems of control. They reject the idea that some individuals or groups should have power over others. Oops, there goes parental control or teachers. If no one's in charge, how will things get done? Who will tell who what to do and how to do it? And will it get done? How would the drug cartels respond to this type of system? They'd love it, I think. Voluntary cooperation is number 2. Anarchists believe in the importance of voluntary and consensual relationships and interactions. People should be free to associate with others and cooperate based on mutual agreement without coercion or force, even if it means to wrest control from the existing rulers. How about number 3 is direct action? Anarchists often advocate for direct action as a means of achieving social and political change. This can include protests, strikes, and other forms of activism that bypass traditional political channels. I'm just curious, how many cars were produced during the recent strikes? Oh, you mentioned social and political change, not necessarily increasing wages. And number 4 in the list of ideas is mutual aid. Anarchists emphasize the importance of mutual aid and cooperation within communities. Instead of relying on the state or large institutions, people should come together to support one another in times of need. So let's see. The Poles are having trouble, so the Koreans should come to the aid of the Polish. Now, before or after taking care of themselves? And 5 is anti-capitalism. Now, many anarchists are also anti-capitalist, as they view capitalism as inherently exploitive and hierarchical. They seek alternatives to capitalistic economic systems. What actual systems are there that would be alternative to capitalism? Who would be making these designer jeans you're wearing, or fix your Starbucks macchiatos, and who would train them on how to make it? What if those involved were unwilling to continue doing what they're doing? A grocery clerk wants to be a rocket scientist, and a rocket scientist wants to be a gardener. Would there be any requirements for additional schooling? Could sort of put an end to functional research. Now, of course, we're still with AI, and number 6 in their ideas is different schools of thought. There are various schools of thought within anarchism, including anarcho-communism, anarcho-syndicalism, anarcho-capitalism, all of which are controversial within anarchist circles. Now, I'll leave it up to you to find the definition of these terms. Each of these schools has its own ideas about how a stateless society should be organized. It's important to note that anarchism is a diverse and multifaceted ideology with a long history, and there is no single universally accepted definition or set of principles. Anarchists have different perspectives and approaches, and the movement has evolved over time in response to changing social and political circumstances. I don't know. Do you think anarchism would work? No government or rule. The synonyms sound like something undesirable would be produced until another form of government arose, either by popular demand or the strongman rule. Voluntary cooperation and mutual aid are not conducive to any of the different societies around the world. Maybe within their race, but not different peoples. Even within the different societies that this is working, if there are any, there's some kind of hierarchy, a government of sorts. And it also has voluntary cooperation and mutual aid. Sounds sort of like what has been described as heaven. I wonder, is heaven anarchistic? What do you think? This is One Old Man in Texas signing out. Bye, y'all.